I'd like to call the Groseal Airport Commerce Park Commission meeting to order at 6 o'clock. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Rathel, could you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, it will. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2 is roll call. Mr. Moran is here. Mr. Rathel.
Here.
Mr. Filarski. Mr. Tanova. Mr. Hornby.
Here.
Mr. Porcerelli.
Here.
Mr. Mans.
Here.
Next item is the approval of the agenda, and we have a couple additions. Under action items, we have action item number 6, which is approval of the Axiom Graphics lease. Item number 7 is the approval of DMAC Industries lease. Number 8 is the approval of Allied Engineering Solutions lease, and we want to remove the closed session. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved. Support.
By Mr. Rathel, support by Mr. Mans. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the minutes of the January 26, 2022 regular session.
I'll move approval. Second.
Motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Porcerelli to approve the minutes of January 26, 2022. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the minutes of the February 23rd, 2022 regular session.
Move approval.
Motion by Mr. Rathel,
Support.
support by Mr. Mans. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the financial report for February 2022. And everyone should have that, should have been included in your packet. And our financial report indicates that we have a budgeted for revenues of $978,581. Our revenue year to date is $991,881, which is 101% of our budget. Our revenues, or our expenditures, are budgeted at the same amount of $978,581, and our year-to-date encumbrances and expenditures are $972,601, which equals 99% of our budget. Our capital reserves as of February 28th is $439,909. And our past due rent summary as of March 4th is $26,637. And our fuel inventory as Jet A is $25,863. And our 100 low lead is $54,916. With that, Janelle, is there anything you want to point out on the financial report?
Just to answer the question that you guys had the last time and the discrepancy and the funds, and we had a general fund that we had to pay due of a large sum, so that was where the monies were.
And what was that for?
For the general fund, so the township,
The reimbursement?
the reimbursement for the accounting.
Salaries and expenses. Okay.
That was for our loan, right?
Both, a little bit of both.
But the major portion of that was our loan payback to the township
Yes,
that we borrowed to build out our units.
across the street.
That we're hoping Joe would get a better rate with us. So Janelle, that went down to, I thought, like $498, okay? Remember that going out in January. And then we look like we have about another 60,000. Did that go out in two two payments?
There was a couple of payments. There were a couple of payments. They were both separate accounts or separate payments at separate times. Yes.
Okay, because I think it was like 160,000, so maybe the first one was 100, and then that's the
The
60,000
other
there.
one was yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. The fuel inventory. So what's happening with the fuel farm now with the bridge open? Are we getting bigger loads? The prices, have we increased pricing on,
We are not getting bigger loads. We still have to get a half load. We still have to share a load.
because of,
The weight limit. So we would need 80,000 pounds in order to, so what is that, 40 tons in order to bring a full load over.
That's 26, John.
It's only 26 right
so
now.
they didn't increase it?
No, they
Oh.
didn't. It's still, we were asking them what they're going to do. They were actually asking them to keep it that way. And the engineers, you know, because of the weights of, you know, braking and so on and so forth, that they were requesting it to stay. But I think it's at 26 right now, tons. Not pounds, but I think it's 26 tons.
It's at 26 tons.
Yeah.
But in order for me to have a full load, I would
80
need
pounds or 80,000?
80,000 pounds, which I
40
think is
tons.
40 tons.
Right. Almost double.
So right now, we're still sharing a load.
So with the cost of fuel going up so high, when we like buy it at, say, $3.50, so we have $3.50 sitting in the tank, but our new cost is, say, $4.50 or $5, do we just sell this at the same markup, or how do we handle our?
There's a formula that I looked at over the past couple of months, trying to, you know, make sure that that's correct. So there's a rack rate that we pay, and then there's a delivered rate that we pay, and then there's taxes that just come along with just the fuel price. And then there's a markup based on what we pay for our QT pod, our monthly fees, and whatever it takes for that, and that makes an adjustment. So right now, the way it turned out for today, I don't have it in front of me. It was like 70 cents. 77 cents, I think, per gallon is what we should be making.
So that's.
On the on the avgas though, I didn't calculate the Jet A.
So that's based upon what you're calling rack rate, not market rate. So we
No, it
never
would be-
increase market rate.
It
if-
would be delivered rate.
So we
which is
never
market
increase,
rate.
we never increase anything based upon an increased market rate. We just have our price based upon our delivered rate.
Delivered rate.
That's what I'm getting at.
Hmm?
Is that policy driven?
That was the way that I was showed by Jordan.
Is Jordan a
I-
pilot?
Jordan is a pilot. I'm going to tell you right now, I went round and round with numbers, with the fuel. Guys, we talked about fuel. I'm like, I don't know. I went
No,
round
I
and
think
round.
we need to look into that.
So I have,
Yeah.
so then you can look at what AirNav has all their fuel pricing at, and there's a few recommendations, but yeah. So
Well, I think that there's a competitive rate too, right?
there's a competitive rate, and so you're looking, if you can look at AirNav today, you can see how much fuel prices are from just your local airports, like, I think I was looking at, I think I was only looking at Avgad for the 100 low lead today. Looked at Jet too, but we sell more of the 100 low lead.
So if you look
So we're
at
competitive,
Meditol,
we're competitive with all the other airports.
so they haven't been increasing it as fuel prices have continue to go up in a retail market environment.
I mean, there's, you know, I mean, you look at, there's a swing, for sure, between all the different airports.
Janelle, can you do a little research and maybe give us a summary of what's going on with the surrounding airports? The delivery rate versus the market rate?
So you want me to talk to the other airport managers and figure out where they're pricing their fuel is?
How they do it? And get some ideas to what our competitors are, I don't know, I'd call them competitors, but what some of our surrounding airports do.
On it. I can do that.
Let's say if we're charging $4 based upon our delivery rate, but the market is selling it for $6, but we're still at $4.
I don't think we're still, no, I think we're competitive though. If you look at what we are based on other surrounding airports as of today, our price is competitive, if not a little higher than other people's. So if you're looking at what we're making per gallon for 100 low load, it's up 77 cents. I don't know what we were doing before. It fluctuates, but I just know what it is today.
So it looks like.
So I think,
Average low lead, 100 gallons in the area is like 626 is the average.
what are we, 330, what are we, 6?
Are we 590? What's AS?
We're not 590. That is not updated. Is that AirNav, Chris?
That's area.
We're not 590. We went up because we just got gas.
Well, this was updated on March 16th.
March
so
16th.
It's a week
That,
behind.
yeah, so that's a week behind, but we have to notify them. So we just, our fuel pricing sheet just came in today. So whatever it would be,
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I think we probably left some money on the table here and there. I don't know if that's just a formula that
I
get. I'm not looking to, you know, we're not gonna get rich on 100 gallons of fuel, but
I couldn't-
it's nice to be competitive.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, but no, I couldn't agree less. We don't make money off an FBO. It costs us money to have people here. We hire people, right? And the services that we provide, we don't make money on. We don't charge anybody to pull a plane out. We don't charge anybody to use our people, and they use it, right?
Correct.
So, we're providing a service to the pilots for free of charge.
It's about, yeah, you'll see it on the budget. We'll wrap back
Right.
around of what our expenditures are for our fuel farm and how much it costs us to run our fuel farm and what our expenditures are.
But it's
Absolutely.
more than a fuel farm, Janelle. It's the fact that we hire 2 people to provide free services to pilots. And that they can use those services, they can call them up, they can say, hey, Bob, do this, hey, can you do that, do this, and they go and they pull the planes out and they do this stuff. We even, I think, for one plane, bought a special tug to be able to pull the plane out. We didn't charge that operator for that. So we have to recover that, either in direct costs of charging everybody for the service, because if it was a private FBO, if those 2 people down there worked for a company, they wouldn't be doing things for free. So and I'm okay with providing that service, right? But how we make money is through our fuel farm. And I think that we have to manage that to generate the most amount of revenue and justify it by, listen, we have 2 people that we're giving you to do all the things that you need to pull the planes out, et cetera. Take it over there, fuel it for you if you want to. And if we just kind of say, well, we're only dealing with nickels and dimes and it's too much work to do, you know, let's just get rid of the 2 people we have as FBOs providers. How do you make the justification of having those people other than the service? So, anyway, I think that I made my point, if the commission wants to,
I'm confused, John. I think we're all shooting for the same thing, is to make more money selling fuel, right?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but,
We're on the same page.
but manage that,
Yeah, yeah, that other caveat.
right, because I got the opinion that maybe somebody thought that it was not that big of a deal to manage it that closely.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I know that it's rocket science to figure out where the market is on fuel and to make sure you're competitive with it.
Well, you gotta pay attention to it, right?
Well, of course.
You have
For the
direct,
field farm?
Yeah,
No,
I
no.
think,
Do we cover it?
I think we need some kind of review, and if you can figure out what our surrounding airports are doing, if you could if you could report back with what everyone else is doing and how we compare, then I think we can make a decision. But I think, I mean, I agree with Mr. Rathel and Mr. Mans that we should try to sell it for market rate, no matter what we buy it at.
And that's a two-way street, obviously. So,
Excellent point.
you know, but with our inventory being relatively low at only half load, I mean, we're never gonna get burned. And you're never gonna get, you're never gonna have a great buy either, because you just don't have the inventory, but whatever, I think we're all on that.
A formula, obviously, that
Yeah.
favors us in a rising price market is gonna, go against us in a declining
you said
price
something that
market.
you never wanna say at your company's board meeting.
What's that?
I think we left money on the table.
Okay. Unfortunately, I had to say it quite a bit.
I know,
so I'm
but
pretty
you don't
good
wanna
at it.
say it.
You don't wanna say it, so we don't wanna make the same mistake twice.
Right, there you
I
go.
guess is my point.
Alright,
I have been looking into it, trust me.
I know.
Alright,
I know
good.
We got a lot
Really,
going on.
it's been really eating at me, the fuel farm. I calculated quite a bit of numbers today on the
So-
fuel farm alone.
so now you have kind of the understanding that the commission is on your side now to work with what you need to
Hey,
do on it.
at least I know I was moving in the right direction. I'm like, something's not right with this formula. It's not making sense to me.
Is there any other comments or questions on the finance report?
I have another one.
Mr. Ray?
We have, Lattice, Lattice LLC, which was what? What Lattice was,
901,000.
that is,
That would be
who owns Lattice, or what's going on with Lattice?
Woodruff and Chris Upton, which are so we're just kind of getting into the accounts, which is the manager section, and we'll just move into that, if everybody's okay.
Well, my reason for bringing it up here, is I drove by the building and it looks like Lattice, John Woodruff, you said? John Woodruff? They're out of the building, is that? And I'm looking at this past due statement of $19,847.
What's, if
That, are they paying that?
you're working with the attorney to go after them for that, yes.
Okay, so the question, or the reason to bring it up here is, what's our direction, our policy, I guess, of keeping this $19,847 that Lattice owes us?
$2,216, if you go to the next page, is really what he owes us.
So 22,000.
$22,216.
So do we want to keep this on our past due rent summary?
I think we should until we exhaust our legal actions that we can take and find out how that's gonna play out.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think you'd probably put a time limit on it, so we're not, carrying it for too long, and we can write it off, and if we get it, it's gravy, if not, then. But
Janelle, do you know what,
Year end right now, right? Our fiscal
Yep.
year end, so you're not
Yep.
gonna write it off this month.
Janelle, do you know what the next action is from from legal counsel?
So I'm waiting for him to get back. I haven't talked to him. Are you giggling? Yeah, I haven't talked to him. The last I talked to him was in reference to settling and getting the tenants out of the building. So, but it's cleaned out and we're actively showing it, so that's moving in a positive direction.
And did the tenant clean out the building, or did we have to clean it out?
The
And
tenant cleaned it out, as the best that he could, but the dumpster was full, so we just had to go in there with one load and dump it in the dumpster. But for the most part, the tenant did clean it out.
their attitude was just they're gonna walk away from what they owe us.
They haven't paid yet.
So is Mr. Woodruff, has he said he's gonna pay, or is he just
Didn't-
not talking to anybody
he
anymore, he
didn't-
just
he-
walked out and
He
been
didn't,
done?
he didn't allude one way or the other.
So, okay, so the question of writing it off, did you talk to Ann, or should we talk to Ann to see if we wanna write it off this calendar year? Or do we need to keep it on our books for the, going into the next fiscal year for any specific reason? Do we have the fund balance? I mean, can we take that $22,000 hit this year?
What do we accrue? Because we had a bad debt accrual somewhere, I thought, of 1% or something, 0.5%.
I don't think it was this high though.
No,
No,
I don't know if you'd wanna write it off quite yet, John, but
I-
I'm like you, I'd rather be more aggressive than not, but I don't know if legal's still.
I would like to continue to pursue for a little while and leave it on there. That's what I would recommend.
Well, we're definitely gonna pursue legal action against Lattice, but from an accounting standpoint, here's the way that I would look at it. So let's say that we have a fund balance, whatever it is, I haven't did a year end. But let's say we have a fund balance, which then goes into our capital reserves. So we build up our capital reserves. If we write off the $22,000, obviously that's $22,000 taken away from our fund balance that won't go into the capital reserves. So in my mind, it's, do we want to build up the capital reserves by not writing it off and then address it next year to write it off, maybe piecemeal it, right? Or keep writing so much off at a time.
Can't agree, take it all at once.
Which maybe that may be the best, because if we get the money, the grant monies, you know, we're gonna have more money next year to do that. And then since we just got done paying 160 grand, I'd like to build up our capital reserves more.
We certainly could do that, yep.
All right, so that would be my thinking. If you guys are in agreement, just to keep it, don't write it off this year and push it into next.
You'll just have to pay a little extra taxes on your.
We're a government, man, we don't pay taxes,
That's
okay?
right, I forgot about that. God bless it, that's right.
I didn't understand that term when he said that. I wasn't clear on tax.
I'm like, what? What's a tax?
Excuse me.
Wasn't clear on. John, can I ask you one question though? On writing that off either way, whatever way it benefits the airport best, obviously, but can it be written off if it's not adjudicated?
I think, I mean, why not? I mean,
You can take part of it now and then the rest later. You're saying make it into the next fiscal year though,
Yes.
would be better for the airport. Okay, I got you.
With Ann. She's smarter than all of us.
Not John.
No, Ann is smarter than.
John.
Ann is like. All right, I'm done.
Any other comments on the financial report?
Yes,
Mr. Hornby?
Janelle, do we know at this point if we have a guarantee of any sort on the Lattice lease?
Are you asking if he agreed that he was gonna pay a certain amount?
No, I'm not gonna ask that, I'm gonna ask if that's part of the lease.
As
Some
far
leases
as
do-
like a
Some
secure,
leases do call for guarantee, and
No, that's not our typical lease, doesn't require a guarantee.
I just wanted to raise that for discussion.
Yeah,
We-
that might
we
be
should
something
look
we're
at.
gonna address from now on.
So, any other questions about Lattice, or are we good? I'll talk to Ann.
One last time, Lattice
Lattice is in default, yes.
of $22,000.
$22,216, yes, it's, did I mention that he didn't pay his utilities either? So can we go back after those?
Sure. I think
Sure like to.
talk to the legal counsel and have him go after everything that he owes us.
Okay,
If it's a lease obligation,
Yeah.
sure, you go after it all.
yeah.
Just don't throw good on the end or bad too far.
I understand.
$22,000.
Is there any other comments or questions on the finance report? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Mann, supported by Mr. Porcelli to approve the February 2022 financial report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the manager's report. Item number 1 is accounts receivable.
So I think we really talked about Lattice a whole lot. So we don't need to talk about that. I think the only other thing is that you'll notice that our past due rent summary has decreased since the last time we met. We did receive a full payment up until April 1st for Sideline. So they're paid in full until April 1st. I've had discussions with them and what they're gonna do moving forward. I'll get back to you when I have an update, hopefully next month. Stanley, Hangar 2 office, not a lot of movement there.
What's the update on Stanley?
Sorry, distracted. Not a lot of movement. I reached out to the attorney last week, that is in charge of Stanley's probate. I didn't hear back from him, and I haven't had a chance to follow back up. But I would like to, move forward and doing something with that. We can't just be storing all of the belongings for him. I'd like to get it cleaned out and, get it up on the market to get it rented sooner than later. Start advertising it. That's what I'd like to do. So,
Are they behind?
$52,000 or
$5,200.
$5,200. Yeah, $5,200. Oh, sorry, I added an extra zero. Sorry, that helicopter distracted me.
What? I mean, we've never been like this before, where we can't get somebody out and it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up.
Nope, I think we go through the same procedure that we did with Lattice.
Okay. I'm moving.
What is another procedure that we can go through other than Lattice's procedure?
So glad to be joining this journey with you guys.
Huh?
Nothing. Listen.
Well, Stanley has been there forever and a day, but why can't we get him out?
We're gonna have to do the notice to quit, and we're gonna have to.
But they're good people. Jeff Forrester is their attorney. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff's a good guy. Can't just say, Jeff, get the stuff out. We gotta rent it out.
Yeah,
Did we do that?
we've talked, and thought he was gonna sell it, but I don't know how much. I mean, we've talked. He knows I'm ready to move forward with it.
So he's gotta be out in a month.
I wouldn't even give him that long. I mean, there's been nobody in there for how long? Janelle, do you have any idea?
I mean, we gotta
Yeah.
go after them too. I mean,
Yeah.
are they gonna pay any? I mean, they say, listen, can we settle on half? Can we
So
settle?
liquidate that was what our last conversation was, is they're liquidating their assets and
I'm good.
And you have somebody that you can put in there, right?
I'll make sure of it. And that's my goal, is to get, a lot of those buildings rented out.
Okay.
Well, I think you should follow up with legal counsel with them.
I'll
and-
follow up again.
and indicate to their attorney that they need to remove whatever's in their space.
I mean, right now, we got $27,000 worth of bad debt.
Anything else, Janelle, on receivables?
No.
We'll move on to manager's report, item number 2, which is the 2022-2023 budget report.
So you guys should all have a copy of this. Hopefully you've had a chance to review it. My goal is to increase our revenues this year. We have some maintenance that I'd like to see happen. So we don't end up in a situation where we're paying more. To repair things.
Janelle, do you have the capability of putting this on the screen?
Want it on the screen?
Need to review
We
this.
need an HDMI cable?
I think if you have even a printed copy, you could.
Yeah, it can go like on the overhead. The gentleman, in the back can help us out too. I'm sorry, I don't know.
You want it up on the screen?
We should show it so anybody that wants to look at it can see it.
Sure.
Can you help us put that on the screen? Just, yeah.
I have a,
Yeah, just, the Elmo would do it right there in front, if we can.
I have a paper.
Thank you.
Oh, I figured you were gonna stand up there and talk to everybody, Jen.
About our budget?
And just go through one page at a time. There you go.
So if you look at the revenues, versus last year, I'd like to increase the revenues, this year from the last 2021, 2022 revenues were 978,581. I'd like to increase those to 1,075,132. It's a 9.87% increase. So we were discussing the fuel farm. So if we look at the fuel. That should be good enough, right? So if you look at the fuel farm, the projected revenues last year were 164,000, but based on prior years from 2019, 18, and 17, if I took the average, we're looking at a total sales budgeted this year for 217,000.
Were the last 2 years affected by the pandemic? Janelle?
I'm gonna guess the pandemic, would be my guess. I mean, I don't have a ton of history on that. The, if you look at the expenses, which we were talking about earlier, you have, the expenses from 2021, the salaries of the part-time employees. If you looked at what their earnings were, increasing, number of hours for that. The FICA, the FICA, all those, the Credit card fees, professional services, telephone, those are set prices. Our insurance and bonds, it's actually broken up. You'll see a part of the expense for the aviation liability insurance broken up at $2,500 here, and then there's another portion that's broken up. I believe it's in the airfield expense report. So just the standard building maintenance, general maintenance on the fuel farm would be, we have fuel expenses or fuel farm expenses where we pay for an inspection. Aero Energy does it annually, so there's a cost for that. And then just general maintenance expenses, such as if we need a new, like a new duct bill for the, whatever you call it, I can't think of it right now. And then the sales tax, and those are the expenses. The way that it was figured out was that they worked more hours. This was budgeted, but the actual amount of what they worked last year was more than what was budgeted for. So they're not getting paid more. We just looked at the average of the amount of hours that they had last year, and that was based upon that. We talked about a raise, and I talked to the township, and they were questioning why. So right now they earn $10 an hour.
Are these just during the summer months?
No, they're full. They're all day. So during our township budget meeting, I was trying to understand how we got raises around here. So, because I really think that they should. I'm like, well, welcome to my world, John. I'm 3 months in here. Well,
people was based upon this commission's desire to provide a service to the pilots. And we could only have them as a part-time of 30 hours, I think, Joe?
it's less than 30 hours. Mm-hmm.
So that we wouldn't have to pay any taxes.
Yeah.
Or benefits to them. So I would make the argument that if the Commerce Park Commission feels that the services that we're providing to pilots would be better, and they would be better employees if we gave them a couple more dollars. I think that, Joe, unless you want to argue that point, that this is an expenditure of the town, of the commission. I mean, it's part-time.
Yeah, I don't think the board, John, I mean, this could be odd coming from me, but I don't think the board can tell you, if you guys as a group think that, you give a little better service or pay these guys to do whatever they're doing, and you want to give them $1 more an hour, $2 more an hour, and that's up to you guys. And then,
No, that was different. That was a manager.
that
Yeah.
was kind of a,
Well, I mean, minimum wage is $9.65 right now, I think,
I got
for
it.
Michigan. I think that's minimum wage. They make $10 an hour, so.
So
So I was advocating, increasing their pay,
as long as
but
it's in your budget too, Janelle, if that's what, or John too, also, or to the board, that,
well, this is it, right? I
well,
mean,
this is the budget, but
yeah, this is what you want, this is,
And so Janelle, does the 24,000 contemplate a raise to those part-timers?
I can calculate the numbers and then we can adjust the number of hours they work.
And
So we
what
could do
were
that.
you suggesting the rate increase go from 975 to what?
Well, they make $10 right
10.
now. So I think minimum wage, it's $9.65, I think. I could be wrong, but I think I looked it up, but
And what are you suggesting to raise their hourly rate to?
$11.50, so $1.50.
be to $11.50, an increase of $1.50, and have Janelle do the calculations and add that into the budget. based upon a 27-hour work week.
Okay.
No other hours added, no other managing time.
You specifically mentioned two people's names. If one of those two people happen to leave and we have someone else, are we gonna need to change the motion to those?
That's designated under the fuel farm expenditures, because we do have part-time maintenance or part-time help that's not budgeted under the fuel farm, right? That would be the grass cutting and all.
The grass cutting. Mm-hmm.
So do we do the motion that it addresses the part-time salaries, fuel farm I mean, they're not fuel farm part-time salary.
At work?
FBO. FBO.
Let's just call it the FBO, because I don't think we've really ever officially done that, but let's call it
I mean,
the FBO part-time salaries.
50 to 540 and $81. This is taking into consideration that the units building 63, 900 and 1,000 are consulting firm. So that's changing. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I also didn't want to put money in there that we didn't have enough in the kitty for it. So that's where that went from.
Why did they make that change?
I wish I could answer that question. I have no idea. I don't know. It was mentioned at the conference that I went to a couple of weeks ago. But I didn't want to get caught and not have it budgeted, so I put it in there. I have no idea how much it's paying for gas and electric across the street for the new tenants, because we lost money last year because we were paying for gas and electric, so I made an adjustment for that. The maintenance for the general maintenance, so 931, which was reduced by 105,000 of the 2021-2022 budget. That number was based on the improvements that we made over at Island Athletics. We don't have those expected this year.
Fans.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Rathel.
I would like to congratulate you on budgeting this year. Commerce Park beautification, you've been talking about that for a long time, and I see that you have been successful in getting a number in there that I could only dream of ever getting for the NAS Memorial Fund. But I do support you in that. The question to you is that a good number? Is that?
I think for at this point, yes, and we'll see what happens. You know, we'll, can always come back and make a adjustment if we need more. But we're gonna start a conversation with Pirates Cove and get at least that portion going, hopefully in the spring here or summer.
I did talk to Pirates Cove now that we're talking about it today. I talked to Dave today, and he is putting in the windows in the buildings, across the storage units across the street. There's 12. I believe they're going to be limestone that are going to be engraved with whatever we want, or what, and we'll have to talk to them about that. But now that we're talking about it, so start thinking about what we want to put in there.
Well,
Okay.
I'm going to say
Planting the
this.
seed just because he had brought it up to me today, and I didn't want to
Yeah.
forget.
I'm going to say this right now, because I'm going to make the suggestion of maybe putting a little bit. I'm going to wait until after to tell Janelle how great of a job she's done in his budget, because she's done a great job with it. I mean, it's like she is like, you really have done an amazing job with this budget, and with our Commerce Park expenditures, we have almost 4.5% decrease while raising and maximizing the revenue, which is incredible. The Commerce Park beautification is one of those things that we have talked about, and we spent $17,000 to do our landscaping plan that is just beautiful. Do we want to take advantage of this and maybe bump that to like another $5,000? And just have it there and then spend it? But that's totally up to Ron. I mean, that's whatever you decide, but I can make the justification in my mind to actually bump that up another $5,000.
I certainly can spend it if you give it to me. so.
You know what, I
Won't be a
mean,
problem.
I'm just, you know, I don't know what the other guys think, but, I mean, let's strike while the iron's hot. I mean, I see that this year, Ron.
Anybody have an objection to increasing the beautification number from 25 to 30,000? No objection.
Oh, is that good for you?
29
That's
and
fine.
1 for your NAS.
The gentlemen know what you need in there, I mean, that's.
And I want all of,
running this fast,
Janelle, can you make that change?
I can make that change. Any other questions, comments, or anything on this before I continue? So, airfield revenue. So, one of the action items, that you're gonna see this evening is that, I'm making a proposal to increase the T-hanger rent, which therefore in turn is going to increase our revenue from the airfield revenue expenditures. That's pretty much it. The other things that you'll notice is that in hangar 2, which is the rent income for hangar number 2, my hopes are to have all 4 of these rented out, with the total of whatever that would total, 912, almost $20,000 of increased revenue there. So, any other questions?
that's not on this, right?
It is on this.
Where is it?
Number 2.
Oh, okay,
I
so
would like,
okay.
I would like to
I got it.
get 4 new tenants in hangar 2. So if I made justifications on how long with months that it would take me to get 4 tenants in there based on a price per square, you know, that's what I'm looking to get. That's my hope, shooting high.
The only other question I have on hangar 2, the hangar itself, the 26,400, where are we at with that lease?
November, I think. I can't remember off the top
But
of my
it's
head.
the end of this year, then that lease,
It's extended, yeah.
are there any options?
I can't remember, John. I can look into it.
No, it's fine, I
but
just
I
wanted
can't,
to,
I don't remember.
we have that budgeted for the entire year, right? So if the lease isn't for the entire year, you know, we need to understand if we're not, you know, something happens there.
Any other? Where are we? Salaries, vision, insurance, all of those are gonna be fixed rates. So, department supplies, if I looked at the actual numbers, those numbers were all pretty much the same. I think the only thing that you're gonna notice are the professional services for the difference for, if you look at professional services 805 airport engineering retainer, that cost actually was, the actual number was $8,000 in order to retain CNS. So I made I made the adjustment for that for this coming year. Auditing fees, they're the same. And then I added the remainder demolition for the drain for the SWIPI, the Stormwater Protection Pollution Plan. So that's the only adjustment there. Any questions? Airfield expenses, legal fees, we covered before. The engineering we covered before. You'll see that the insurance and bonds, we talked about that. It was in two parts. It actually says 203. That's a typo. So it's really just 202. I divided the liability insurance up in two different sections. Once again, the gas was divided up between this and the Commerce Park expenses. We touched on that. The building maintenance seemed to run into a couple of surprises. I don't want to be in a situation where we do have more building maintenance expenses. The runway increased. As you know, the taxiway is not going to be done this year. We want to put ourselves in a position where if we have unexpected expenses, we know what we're going to be spending on that. The T-hangers, which is the other increase. Oh, the maintenance on the AWAS, I did look into that, and it was what we spent last year was $2,500 on the AWAS. I don't expect anything more with that since it was just serviced this year. The T-hanger expenses, general expense, the T-hangers, they need a little love. The cables, there's cables that need to be replaced. We've gone into every single T-hanger. Bob Banchek and I did, and we looked at all of them. We've talked to a couple of companies. Turns out our maintenance staff, so I might be high on this, but the maintenance staff, I think, can do quite a bit of the maintenance on the T-hangers now. So we started a spring T-hanger maintenance. We're going to be going into every single T-hanger and maintaining them. I don't know what we're going to find. We could have a couple of motors. You're looking at motor replacement. I don't know if the guys can do that, so there's an adjustment for that. The maintenance on the vehicles, so both of our New Hollands are leaking hydraulic fluid a lot. I don't want to be in a situation where we cannot afford to buy a new one because we blow a motor on them. And that's it for that. Any questions on that? Expenses, just carried over the expenses from before, from last year's budget for the construction and lighting that should be happening. Capital improvements, $35,000. The maintenance staff would like a couple of pieces of equipment for the lawn maintenance and then snow removal. Other than that, the other expenses are about the same as they were from last year's budget.
But I do have to say something here. So we have two new maintenance guys, right? And they went through every piece of equipment and they look at what they had, what works, what didn't work, what they could sell, what they could get away with. And I was really thinking that, okay, this is going to be, in this budget, there was going to be just huge ask of we need this, 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 and this, and it's the exact opposite. Our two maintenance guys have gone through, they fix things, they work on things, and they're pretty thorough in everything that they're doing now here. And all they're doing is asking for a couple minor things for $7,000, walk behind mower, for lawn and snow equipment, and everything else they have worked on, fixed, oiled, greased, welded. I mean, these guys are like, it is incredible that these guys have gone down there and have done work on maintenance equipment that hasn't been done in years and years, and are only asking for $7,000. So shout out to you and the two guys, you know, that's just an incredible job. And I think that it just needed to be recognized and noted, and this was a good time for it, I thought.
Any other questions on the budget? Or can I go sit down?
No,
Thanks,
Go
Janelle.
Thank you, Janelle.
I know you're fairly new to this process, and we appreciate
Good job.
what you did today.
Janelle, you're not new anymore.
I'm gonna be new for a while, John.
Oh, that excuse,
3 months.
you have demonstrated that you are very capable, so you are not new anymore.
With the discussion on the budget, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2022-2023 budget.
With the 2 changes.
Yes, with the 2 changes.
I support that wholeheartedly.
Motion by Mr. Rathel,
I'll support it.
or by Mr. Mans. Is there any other discussion on the 2022-2023 budget? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carried.
So I don't know if Janelle's just embarrassed or she doesn't like compliments.
Thanks, John.
This, you did an incredible job. Like literally every line item hasn't been thought of as thoroughly as you've thought about them in a long time. Thank you for that. Duke or who?
I'm sorry. I don't think Mike would agree with John's statement, that's all I said. That was a reflex of mine.
Let me tell you, when you leave, that's what everyone says. Rathel who?
We'll move on to our action items. Action item number 1 is approval of the 2022-2023 Commerce Park Commission meetings. And one question, Janelle, the January and February meetings typically are not held on Mondays because the January meeting, I think, is that Monday is Martin Luther King Day, and the 3rd Monday in February, I think, is President's Day. So those, if those are the Mondays, we'll need to move those to the next day.
Do you want me to do that now, or?
Well, we'll just approve the meeting schedule with those 2 changes.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be here on one of them, so I don't want a meeting then.
Well, I was hoping we were, once we got all this moving forward, we were just gonna,
So we're gonna change
What'd you say?
the January 2023 meeting to January 17th and the February 2023 meeting to February 21st.
okay, got it.
So it says June,
Yeah, that should be.
yeah, it's July.
Oh, July. When is your birthday?
July 20th.
Is there any questions on the meeting dates? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Mans. Support by Mr. Tenova to approve the meeting schedule as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Action item number 2 is the election of a chairman and a vice chairman.
I move that we recommend Ron Moran as the chairman, and I will do vice chair again this year, if you guys so feel.
By Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Porcerelli. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 3 is the approval of O'Hanlon's and Redline landscape lease. We have a resolution before us that reads, based upon the recommendation from the Grosseal Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosseal Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a lease between Redline Landscape and O'Hanlon's Lawn Care and the Grosseal Municipal Airport. A formal lease will be developed pending approval by the Commission. Terms of the proposed lease agreement are listed in the history, purpose, and explanation section of this resolution. And the history, purpose, and explanation reads, this resolution is a lease approval for light industrial space located at 27502 Meridian, unit number 200, space totaling 1,696 square feet, Redline Landscape LLC and O'Hanlon's Lawn Care Services will utilize this space for their lawn maintenance business. Mr. O'Hanlon's owner of Ms. O'Hanlon's Lawn Care has been in the lawn care business for 5 years. Mr. Pruitt, owner of Redline Landscape, has owned his business for 3 years. Both companies have shown growth over the past years in business. The commencement date of the lease is April 1st, 2022, with an expiration of October 31st, 2023. So it's an 18-month term with a monthly rental rate of $1,200, which equals $14,400, and that equates to $8.08 a square foot.
I move support of that lease.
I'll support.
Motion by Mr. Rathel, support by Mr. Mans. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. The next item is the approval of the new T-hanger lease.
No, I did not
Yeah, do we have,
one out.
Oh, I messed it up.
No,
You just
wait.
have to go further on down the,
Where am I at
your
here?
packet is a little backwards, cause we added items. So it should be the- do you not have it?
We have a packet.
Oh, you don't have a packet?
Here, which,
I've been using my computer off of,
which one is this? I have a packet, but I'm not sure I have, what was the name of the lease?
the T-hanger lease agreement?
Oh,
Everybody have that?
I'm good, I don't need it, I'm good, I just. Yes, I got it. I do have it, I'm good. Yep, it's at the back, thank you.
I had a chance to review it, and I have no comments or questions. I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to review it.
I've looked at it. I just have one.
Go ahead.
So in the page 1, provision number 2, I'm gonna have to consult with the accounting department as far as getting noticed for the 6th day of the month for that. I don't think it'll make a big difference. I just want to, we're gonna have to make a different, like, switch things up down there. And then the next question is that the 2 months rent for the deposit, do we want to collect that now or just new leases coming in? Because we're going to have this signed by everybody, right?
How long is our typical T-hanger lease?
1 month. Mm-hmm. It's month to month.
I think
so.
as these start to get executed, we need to collect the 2 months rent.
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted to double check. That's what I would do. Make sure we're all on the same page. That was one of my
I
biggest
do have
questions.
one comment under paragraph 6. The sentence reads, "Any approved alteration shall become permanent part of the hangar and not subject to removal by leasee without prior written approval of the manager." I think it should be at our option whether we want them to remove the, if they make some improvement that we don't think adds any value to it, then it should be our option that when they move out, we can tell them to remove whatever they installed. Or if we think it's an improvement, we can have them leave it. So we want the option to have them remove whatever alteration they made if we feel it didn't make an improvement to the hangar. That's pretty typical, and I assume,
is.
Mr. Hornby, is that, you typically see that in your leases?
Yeah, it's always better to have it landlord's discretion, if it adds value, you'll keep it, and if it's, problem, you have them remove it.
Are there any other comments on the T-hangar lease?
So Ron, just so I understand it, so if they wanna do an alteration to the hangar, they have to have it approved, obviously. And then what we're saying in this lease is that alteration becomes a permanent part of the hangar. We're saying that we would like to have the discretion to determine whether we even want that improvement there after.
Correct. I mean, if somebody
Yep.
cuts a hole in the wall for a door or something, and they're leaving, and we decide we don't want that door, they have to bring it back to
Yep, I agree with that.
without the door, so. I'll entertain a motion.
Question.
Yes.
or
Mr.
comment.
Hornby,
Janelle, this is not the most recent version of the lease.
This is not the most recent version.
No, that's not the
Got
one.
another one?
It's not the one I distributed to everybody, noonish, 1 o'clock.
that's the one I'm looking at, is the one you sent today.
Okay, I'm looking at the one in the packet and, looking at like paragraph 13 on insurance, there were some changes.
There was some change on which. Well,
Well, paragraphs
Yeah.
13 and 14.
do you,
I'm not looking at the right one, because there's no 13 and 14 on mine.
So Greg, were those the changes that you and I went over today?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that was the removal of that language that we talked about?
Correct.
Yeah, that's
so I
important.
printed that out before that. Okay,
Can somebody read what 13 and 14 say?
yeah. Do you have it, Greg?
I do.
Ours are different. It was updated, but I printed this
Okay.
prior to the
I got you,
updated
I'm sorry.
version.
I thought you needed.
It's okay, we can,
You have it, Janelle, 13 and 14?
you have it, Greg?
Greg has it.
Somebody read it? Greg, can you read it?
The old or the new? I'm not sure who has
You,
what.
you wanna read the updated one?
Read the one that you sent out, when you and I talked about the changes on the insurance.
Yep.
You made those changes, right? And you sent it out to everybody.
Correct.
Those changes are not reflected in what Janelle has sent to us, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Eliminated 13 and 14.
And we started by eliminating 12.
Right. So when we,
13 as previous now becomes 12.
so now when we look at each paragraph, we have 12, and that's the last paragraph. We have 12A, 12B, 12C.
Oh, okay,
That is the one that I reviewed.
okay.
So, yes, the one that is in our packet here is not good. The new amended lease is the one that Greg sent out to us this afternoon.
Oh. My apologies.
Basically, it says the assignment of risk. Is that where we changed it, Greg? The assignment of risk, leasee agrees to assume full, or is it insurance leasee that's now 12? Where do we want to read from, Greg? Twelve, 12A, 12B, 12C, and that's it.
12 indemnification was removed, right? 13 in the packet became 12. From Groseville Municipal Airport to the last sentence, cause of such loss was stricken.
So if we just disregard the one that's in the package, just throw that away?
Yep.
Now, what has changed really is only the insurance verbiage.
Janelle, can you maybe put it up on the screen? Better than reading it.
Anybody have it printed out?
I mean, I can read
Yeah,
it.
I do.
I mean, I have it right here in front of me. Just put it up on the screen then, Greg.
I'll put it up.
That last, put the whole thing up so we can we'll start all over again on it.
Yes, this is it.
So if we go on to your change that you
Yeah, that's number 6.
suggested. Okay, so we alter, we redline and add in number 6, adding
The airport shall have the discretion to allow the improvement to stay with the hangar or remove the alteration.
so number 7's the same, 8's the same, 9 is the same. 10, termination of lease C is the same. Number 11 is the assignment of risk. Greg, Alicia agrees to assume full risk of any and all loss or damage of aircraft. That's the same, right? Okay, so the only thing that is different, that is notably different, is the 12. So if you just want to highlight, Janelle, 12A, B, and C.
Well, looks like from the previous one, we got rid of that completely. Okay, I got it. So,
On the one you have where it says 12,
I'm just going to read it. It says, item number 12 is insurance. Leasee agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the Township of Groseal Municipal Airport for any and all loss in any way arising out of leasee's presence on or use of the Groseal Municipal Airport. Tenant shall maintain property and liability insurance, including physical damage coverage, as follows. 12A, aircraft liability insurance with minimum liability limits of $1 million, combined single limit covering leasee for bodily injury and or property damage claims arising out of the ownership, maintenance, or use of leasee's aircraft, Groseal Municipal Airport's aircraft hangar, or any part of the Groseal Municipal Airport. 12B, leasee shall also maintain automobile liability insurance on any vehicle that will enter onto the Groseal Municipal Airport's property, including roadways, providing ingress and egress to and from the airport with auto liability limits of no less than $500,000 coverage. Item 12C, all insurance above shall name as additional insured the Township of Groseal, the Groseal Municipal Airport, and the Groseal Municipal Airport. Such insurance will be primary and non-contributory to any other insurance or funding mechanism that any of the additional insureds may have available to them. Leasee hereby waives any current or future rights of subrogation that leasee and or their insurance or insurances may have against any of the parties named above. Leasee will provide proof of the above insurance requirements by providing a certificate of insurance to the managers annually. So with the change to item number 6, which gives the discretion to the airport manager to have the alteration remain or removed. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that motion with one other addition to it, that this goes for approval of legal review, just so that we have, we have our attorney look at it and bless it as it is too.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Rathel.
Support.
Support by Mr. Tenova, that the new T-hanger lease be approved, subject to review and approval by legal counsel. Any further discussion?
I do have one other question. Do we need to, as a commission, state when this new lease will go into effect?
I think that would be a good idea.
Is that part of this approval of the lease, or is it separate?
I say we approve the lease with it going into effect on a certain day.
Okay, so I'll amend my motion then to have this lease take effective April 1st, 2022.
Mr. Tenova, do you agree with that change?
Yep.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes. So, is that with it signed, or with it executed, or does it blanket, is it a blanket new lease across the board? Because it's gonna take Janelle time to go get these signed and get this stuff taken care of. So does this lease take effect April 1st with or without signatures, and can we even,
Well, I think it needs to be reviewed by legal counsel first, so I'm not sure how long that'll take.
well, if it goes into effect April 1st, but let's say that this is the new lease,
If legal counsel hasn't had an opportunity to make any corrections and review it before April 1st, then how can we make it effective April 1st? I think that's my question.
That's my point, is,
well, we just tell legal counsel that this is a short lease and we need his approval, and it's gonna take effect April 1st. And if we need Joe's help to have legal counsel approve a small lease like this so that we can execute it April 1st, and Joe, I would hope you jump on that.
I will.
But my question is not legal counsel review. Let's say that T-hanger number 5 hasn't signed it. You go over there and say, here's your new lease, sign it, and he goes, you know what, and he doesn't sign it April 15th, April 30th, what happens if,
no, if the lease is ready to be signed by April 1st and they refuse to sign it, in my opinion, it's retroactive to
Okay.
April 1.
all right, that was my question.
You want me to try and get all leases signed by April 1st? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well,
How do you typically get the leases to the tenants? Do you email them? Do you?
I can email them. It depends on the tenants. There's 65 tenants. So it's either going to be snail mail, email, or phone call, or those are my options, because they're all not treated equally.
Can you get these to everybody by April 1st?
you tell us, Janelle.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
you-
say-
you know,
I
Just-
think
if
May
it's-
1st is going to be more realistic in order for me to
That works for me.
kind of coordinate everything. I mean, April 1st is,
May 1st is fine, but the rent increase starts April 1st.
rent increase from accounts.
No, you can't do that.
You can't
John.
do that. I can't. It's
mean,
just
a
no
30-day
way. From the
notice.
way that the
For
billing,
our fiscal year.
the billing won't make that happen. I've talked to the accounting department. There's just no way.
So when's the
So
rent
we
increase?
have to,
take
in
effect?
order to do this. So can we just look at the next page for the rent increase, and I'll explain to you why we can't do it. It's just too many rent changes.
Okay, so I just saw the next one there is
Yeah.
May 1st.
Yeah.
So do you want to have June 1st take the next, to have this take effect?
No, I think May 1. We can do it by May 1.
All right, I amend it to May 1.
Yeah, May 1.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Tenova, to approve the T-hanger lease with the amendment that we made, and reviewed by the legal counsel, effective May 1st, 2022. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the new T-hanger lease rates. We have a resolution in front of us that reads, based upon the recommendation from the Groseal Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Groseal Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves an increase of the T-hanger lease rate. Lease rate increases will be effective May 1st. Terms of the proposed lease agreement are listed in the history, purpose, and explanation section of this resolution. And that reads, this resolution is an increase of the T-hanger lease rate is based upon the overall increase of expenses, insurance, and maintenance of the hangars. The commencement date is May 1st, and the old rates are increased by, it looks like, are they all $7 or $8? Some are $9.
Somewhere in that category.
And these are based on the location?
They're based on the location, and they're based on the age of the T-hanger. So there are T-hangers that are newer over there,
Okay.
so it's both.
So they go from a low of 157 to a high of 374.
Correct.
Entertain a motion?
Is that what is the percentage? Was there a percentage used?
I could not do a actual percentage because then so. I talked to the accounting department. We decided that we were going to do a round number based on the nearest dollar based on 3%.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
So. No, not at all. Are you making a motion to?
Which? Pleasure. Gotta have a motion.
Oh.
Got a motion by
I thought you
Mr.
motioned.
No. Motion by Mr. Tenova.
Thought I
Is there
heard Chris say
support?
Oh, sorry, we're talking.
Support.
By Mr. Porcelli. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 6 is a approval of a lease for Axiom Graphics. We have a resolution before us that reads, based upon the recommendation from the Groseal Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Groseal Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a lease between Axiom Graphics and the Groseal Municipal Airport. Formal lease will be developed pending approval by the commission. Terms of the proposed lease agreement are listed in the history, purpose, and explanation section of this resolution. And that reads, this resolution is a lease approval for an office space on the north side of Hangar 2. Total is 1,930 square feet. Axiom Graphics will be
That's-
extending the lease for the continued use of the building for business and personal storage. The commencement date will be April 1st, 2022, expiring on March 31st, 2023. A rental rate of $1,300 a month equals $15,600 a year, and the expenses, and that equals $8.08 a square foot per year.
Mr. Chair,
Janelle,
I would like to make a change in the address to 27502 Meridian. And it's, I believe it's unit 300.
for Axiom,
Yes.
yeah,
The resolution, the agreement says north side of Hangar 2. It's a typo. I'm switching it to Meridian, to 27502. Got it?
what number did you say?
27502 Meridian, unit 300. Yes.
Is that the industrial building?
Yes.
When I read that, I'm sorry, I couldn't figure out where 27 for the
It's
airport
building
was, yeah.
63.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'm trying to learn the, without a scorecard.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's not you, it's me.
Carry on.
Office space is located at 27502 Meridian, Unit 300.
Correct.
By Mr. Mans,
Support.
support by Mr. Hornby. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 7 is approval of a new lease for DMAC Industries. We have a resolution before us that reads, based upon the recommendation of the Grosseal Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosseal Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a lease between DMAC Industries and the Grosseal Municipal Airport. Formal lease will be developed pending approval by the commission. Terms of the proposed lease agreement are listed in the history, purpose, and explanation section of this resolution. And that reads, this resolution is a lease approval for a light industrial space located at 27502 Meridian, unit number 700. It's a total of 1,983 square feet. DMAC Industries will be extending the lease for the continued use of the building for personal storage and business space. The commencement date is April 1, 2022, with an expiration of March 31st, 2023. It's a one-year lease, and it is for $1,345 a month, which equals $16,140 a year at a rental rate of $8.14 a square foot. Motion by Mr. Rathel, support by Mr. Canova. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 8 is approval of a lease for Allied Engineering Solutions. We have a resolution before us that reads, based upon the recommendation of the Grosseal Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosseal Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a lease between Allied Engineering Solutions and the Grosseal Municipal Airport. Formal lease will be developed pending approval by the commission. Terms of the proposed lease agreement are listed in the history, purpose, and explanation section of this resolution. And that reads, this resolution is a lease approval for an office space on the south side of Hangar 2. Total is 285 square feet. Allied Engineering Solutions will be utilizing this space as office space. Tenant will be replacing the carpet with new flooring, installing drywall to cover window into the office space next door, and painting the walls, all walls. Commencement date is April 1, 2022, with an expiration date of March 31, 2023. The length of the lease is 1 year with a rental rate of $256.50 per month, which equals $3,078 for the year. That equates to $10.80 a square foot.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rathel,
Second.
supported by Mr. Mans.
I'd just like to make a comment.
By Mr. Porcello.
I'd just like to make a comment that this is the corner unit on the west side that has been vacant forever, and Janelle got somebody to go up there and take that space, so that's where that unit is located, so.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Porcelli. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is subcommittee reports. We have none tonight. Chairman's report, just as we talked about a little bit earlier, the intent is to meet with Pirates Cove prior to the next meeting and figure out how to get our landscape plan moving at the corner of their entrance. Because if you remember, we agreed to let them use some of our land for storage, and in exchange for that, they were gonna pay some of our landscaping. So, the intent is that I will meet with them and anybody else that wants to meet with me to discuss when we can get that landscaping and what their dollar amount is going to be towards the landscape plan. And this is the plan. We're gonna start installing the plan that was approved by us a couple years ago, and we finally have some funding to start doing some of that work, so. Hopefully I will have something to report at the next meeting about how we're gonna move forward. With that, I will move to the next item, which is public comment. We have no one out in the public today, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Mann, supported by Mr. Tenova to adjourn at 7:40, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.